Good morning. This clip will be looking at the 3 sections of the English language exam and how to approach each one. Okay, starting with section A, short answer. So this is the shortest section of the 3. It's only worth 15 marks and you should only spend about 15 to 20 minutes of it out of your 2 hours, excluding your extra 15 minutes of reading time. So basically in short answer, they're testing your meta language especially. So here they're not looking for lengthy writing, they're not looking for really fancy writing or bringing in extra ideas about English language, they're just testing your meta language. So in terms of your writing, always count the marks and be extremely obvious or extremely explicit about how you state things. So if a question is worth 2 marks, it'll be worth 2 pieces of meta language or 1 piece of meta language and an explanation. Typically, questions link to things. So this one up top, question 1 in the example, just asks you to identify something. So here you would just write the answer to the question, just identify the register, you wouldn't explain anything. Whereas down here, this one is worth 2 marks, they're asking you to link a piece of meta language to one of the major topics. So register, social purpose, and context are like common things they can ask you to link to. But they could also do things like information flow or topic management, etc. So they're asking you to link 2 things here. So always count the marks. Seeing with this one, they're asking you for 2 examples of the meta language, or 2 examples of the language feature, and they would both require explanation. So this one, you'll obviously only be getting 1 mark per mark in explanation, but if this one were the same question worth 4 marks, you would be getting 1 for each meta language and 1 for each explanation. Okay, moving on to the analytical commentary now, section B, which is worth 30 marks out of a total of 75, and this would take normally 45 to 50 minutes. So this is equal with the essay in terms of how long you'd spend on it. This is just a suggestion, by the way. Typically, you would take still a little bit of time here to work on your essay, which takes a little bit more time. But basically, the analytical commentary is like a self-directed short answer. So a self-directed version of part A. It just means that you're being required to find all of the details, all of the meta language yourself and synthesize it however you see fit. So typically, it focuses on the interactions between register, social purpose, and context. So how formal something is, whether it's written or spoken, why the text exists, which is your social purposes, and the context, both cultural and situational context. So typical types of text will be like it'll either be written or spoken, and it will either be formal or informal. So a speech, typical formal spoken, everything to a fine, which is a written formal. You can also get written informals and spoken informals. And your analytical commentary will be based around trying to explain why the features in the text replicate that formality, the mode, and also the social purposes and context. So again here, this is not an essay, so your writing should be pretty direct. Unlike the essay, you won't have a lengthy introduction, you definitely won't have a lengthy conclusion, and you won't bring in any of your own ideas. You'll just be writing really explicitly about identifying things and explaining how they exist and how they function and how they interact, but you won't be required to bring in new ideas or quotes or anything like that. The analytical commentary should be very explicit. It should be more like the writing style of a short answer than that of section C of the essay. So thank you for listening today.